Getting stuck is easy. Getting unstuck is not so easy, unless you know how. Whether it's personally or professionally, the steps to change are exactly the same. There's a clear-cut formula to living the life you want and deserve. Are you ready to make a change? It's easier than you think. Go to thehabitformulabook.com and get yourself a free copy. Remember, you don't even have to read it. Just do the exercises at the end of each chapter. If you want me to hold your hand, upgrade your order to the premium course. These principles are the same steps I took to work 25% less and make 30% more. If you seriously want to change something in your life, thehabitformulabook.com will show you how. And get yourself a free copy! Or upgrade to the premium course for even better and faster results. And get unstuck today. thehabitformulabook.com. Hey everybody, you know what time it is. It's lunchtime with the Habit Master. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Aldrich, and I help people change their habits, both professionally and personally, so they can get the results that they want. Today is Tuesday, so we usually talk, it's Tooth Tuesday, so we usually talk about my field, which is dentistry. We talk about teeth, we talk about gums, we talk about chewing, we talk about everything that's related to the mouth and your health, so that maybe if you have an issue, that you can solve it because you get the knowledge and some of the tips and tricks of the trade from me, right? If you want to have a reference book, just in case, let's say somebody in your family is having an issue with their teeth, maybe they have dentures, maybe they don't want to floss, maybe they're having a thumb sucking issue, you can download a free copy of my book. It's called Nothing But the Tooth, 11 Questions You Should Ask Your Dentist. It's really just a reference book, but you can go on akrondentalconcepts.com and download a free copy, okay? Also, if you want to dive into this material and really learn how to change your habits, go and get a free copy of my book. It's called The Habit Formula, Life Success Equation. Go to thehabitformulabook.com, and if you really want to dive into stuff and make 2019 the best year ever, upgrade your order and order one of the programs. I use the programs pretty much every day, and I'm starting to sell programs. I've got 2 podcasters that I'm going to be on their show here coming up in the next couple of months. I mean, things are just starting to happen. I've got another book that follows the habit formula principles that will be coming out soon. We're just finishing up the audiobook for it. It's for parents and helping to teach their kids good habits. So I've got a lot of stuff going on, and I do a podcast during the week every day. And I also do other videos and, write all kinds of things. And I'm doing what I love. Not only do I get to tinker with people's teeth and fix them up, but I use these principles to live a more fulfilled life. And I know it can do the same thing for you. So go to thehabitformulabook.com and grab yourself a copy. So today is all about missing teeth and how we can fix this issue so that you can chew and eat the food you want. You want a good steak, you want to eat some crunchy things, which of course I don't want you to eat too crunchy of things, but if you want to eat a nice salad or some crunchy veggies or something like that, you need some teeth to do that, and especially in the molar area. So we're going to go over 4 ways that your dentist can replace missing teeth. Okay? I was looking online to some ADA stats, and 36 million Americans have 0 teeth. 36 million. That's 10% of the population have 0 teeth. Another 12 million are missing teeth on one arch. Okay, so about 13%, 14% of the United States has no teeth on one of the arches, right? And they're wearing some type of denture. 120 million people are missing at least one tooth. Now, this statistic is a little warped because it includes people like myself that are missing wisdom teeth, okay? And most kids over 17, over 20 at least, are missing some kind of wisdom teeth, right? So I don't know what the true statistic is because they lumped everybody into that category that even had wisdom teeth out. And, you know, to me, wisdom teeth, if you need them out, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's not because you weren't taking care of them. It's because they weren't coming in all the way and you couldn't take care of them, right? I think that's a different issue than having a molar that, you know, maybe broke, maybe you didn't take care of it and the hole got too large. And now it's going to cost you $2,000 to fix it. You don't have the money, and then you chuck it. Okay, so I think that number is a little warped, but whatever. It's still a lot of people, though. 15% of the people that have no teeth have new dentures made every year. My philosophy with that is every probably 5 years you should have a new set of dentures made. Now, that being said, it really depends on the person too. If you've been sick, if you know, you've lost a lot of weight, if your whole physiology has changed a lot, then you definitely should have new dentures made because they're just not going to fit and you're not going to be able to eat, right? If you've been sick, you have some type of cancer, right, that you're battling, you've had some type of surgery, maybe heart surgery or something, you need to be able to eat really good, nutritious food that have a lot of nutrients, that have a lot of minerals and vitamins, so that your body can heal itself and recuperate, so that you can live a longer life, right? Without being able to eat anything because your dentures are flopping, how are you going to do that, right? So, you know, some people have had the same denture for 20 years. As long as you're eating okay with it and it's fitting okay, then that's okay. But if something has happened where it's not fitting, something's cracked, you know, dentures can crack, they're just plastic, right? So if the denture has cracked itself, it's not fitting right, you're trying to super glue it, which never works, by the way, it's just never going to hold, then it's time to get a new set of dentures. So we have consequences for missing our teeth. One, we can't eat very well. Two, because we can't eat the more nutritious foods, the crunchy veggies, that kind of thing, what we do is we increase the carbohydrates that we're eating. And that can lead to increase in our weight. So you increase obesity frequency. That can lead to diabetes. That can lead to coronary heart disease, any type of cardiovascular problems. It can also lead to stroke. So there's a lot of consequences when you are missing teeth that it's a good thing to try to replace it. So let's dive in and start talking about the 4 ways that we can replace missing teeth. Now, the first way really isn't a way to replace a missing tooth, but it is a treatment option that I give my patients. And that is the worst one of all, which is no treatment. You know, people do eat without any teeth, right? So I always give them the option that, you know, you're missing 5 teeth over here. How are you chewing on the other side? Okay, you don't want to spend the money to do any of these other 3 types of treatments. Okay, no treatment is still a treatment plan, right? It's still a treatment option. It's obviously the worst option there is, but it's still an option, right? The second one is a bridge. Now, what is a bridge? So let's say that here's a tooth here, and I'm just going to draw blocks because my art skills are terrible. Here's another tooth in front, right? And you're missing this guy in between, okay? What a bridge is basically 3 teeth in one, so it's all connected, right? So it would look like this. And it comes there, and it comes right there, and it comes there. Okay, it's a 3-piece unit that is glued into place. So this piece here would just sit on the gum down here, right? So you can get in between here, in this spot here, and floss underneath it. So it's attached, so you won't be able to floss this way, right? But you can get underneath, in between this tooth, because nothing's connected, okay? It's connected this way, right? In this area here. Okay, so this helps too, and it just sits on the tooth, so then it would look like this. And it fills in the gap. Okay? And we do a ton of those, right? Now, insurance usually will cover half. So if it's the cost of 3 crowns, now you can do bigger bridges, okay? Let's say you're missing, you've got a tooth behind, you're missing 2 teeth, and then you've got a guy over there, right? You can do a 4-unit bridge. That's what we call it, 4 units, so 4 teeth, right? So it would look exactly the same, except here it would have 2 teeth there, right? Right? Same thing. You just have a bigger space there. So then you could get up anywhere underneath here and clean, and you go up underneath with a little floss threader. It kind of looks like a needle and thread. So it's plastic, and it kind of looks like this. And you put the floss through it. And then you can get this part here in that area, and then go up and floss from underneath, right? You can also use water pick. You can also use any of the little picky devices that are on the market, and that will help keep food from getting trapped, because remember, it's not attached anywhere, only on the sides. So you can get food up underneath it, but it's not that big of a deal. Most people don't have any issues with it. A little quick brush or swish with some even water, a little water pick, rinse, whatever, a little floss, and it always gets it out, right? Insurance usually will cover half. So, and depending on your insurance, depending on your, how much your maximums are, that kind of thing. But usually they'll cover half, even with this one, unless you have a missing tooth clause. And I can have Della come on at some point if we need to talk about things that insurance doesn't cover. If you have a missing tooth clause, then they may not cover this tooth, and they may only cover, half of this one and half of this one, and then you got to pay for that one that's actually missing. But that's something you're going to have to talk to your insurance plan about, because some companies, some employers cover that and some don't. Usually the life expectancy on a bridge, I would say 10 years is pretty good for anything like that. But I've seen bridges that are 30 years old and there's no issue. So it really depends on, are you taking care of your stuff, right? Are you brushing and flossing underneath there, using the water pick? Are you coming to the dentist so we can make sure that things are good? Make sure that there's no decay on these 2 teeth here that are still alive, because you still, these guys are still cooking, right? A lot of times we can get this stuff early if, you actually come in for us to check it. So, you got to make sure you're cleaning it and, that somebody's examining it. But a bridge is a wonderful option to, handle a space that you have so that you can eat, so that you can chew, and fill in any gaps. So your smile feels like it's whole again. Without a hole. Get it? W-H-O-L-A instead of a H-O-L-E. All right, the third thing is a partial denture. I forgot to bring one today. But basically, a denture, a partial denture. So let's say this is the person's mouth and you're looking down like that, and they're missing, these back teeth, right? So they're missing this guy, and they're missing a couple here, Okay, so they've got teeth here and they've got teeth there. So we make a partial so that it fills in the gaps. And usually this is the lower, so usually it'll fill in and have little hooks there. And there's a tooth, and have a hook there, and have a hook there. Okay, so it kind of looks like this if you're just looking at it. And the teeth are right here, wherever it needs to be, right? And then you can flip it in, they come in, they're removable. They come in, they come out. You can chew with them, you can brush them with a toothbrush, you can soak them in Efferdin or a tablet. You still need to physically brush them though. But usually the cost of a partial is about the same cost as a 3-tooth bridge. The one that we talked about earlier, right? So 3 of these equal 1 of these. The nice part about a partial denture is, let's say that you were missing all but 1 tooth here, but let's say another tooth went bad on you, you can always add to it. So you can add other teeth that later on might break or something like that, and then we can make the partial fill in the gap, and you just keep trucking, right? And you're already used to that partial because you've already had it, you've already been using it. So a partial denture is a wonderful way to fill in the gap, or any gaps that you have, a lot of times on both sides, and it makes you chew evenly, and it helps you to be able to chew your food right. So that's always an awesome option. Now there's a couple kinds of partials out there, right? One is the one with metal on it. I've only made, I think, 2 in my career, and we're going on 20 years now. Okay. The other one's what's called a flexible partial. There is no metal in there. I think the metal ones, they just beat up the teeth that they do hook onto too much. They're also more bulky because you not only have the layer of metal, that's the substructure framework, but you also have plastic gum tissue that is, has to be put around it to make it look like teeth, right? And gums and all of that. And I think they're just way too bulky, and I just hate them. And if the clasps, if they get loose, it's very difficult to tighten them back up because you're manually, I'm in there with pliers, manually hoping that I get it tight, not too tight that it makes the tooth sore, not too tight that the clasp breaks off, which I've done that many times, and then I'm responsible for fixing that. I hate those things. I don't make them. I make the flexible ones, which are 1 layer. They're the gum tissue color with the teeth baked into it, and those are the kind that I do. They're a little bit flexible, so when you chew, you can feel it kind of moving a little bit, but it's a lot more comfortable, and it really does adhere to the mouth a lot better. So they kind of stick in there a lot better than the metal ones because those don't give at all. So they kind of get into the undercuts of the teeth and of the jawbone and really get in there. Okay, so partial denture is an option. Another option, which is your last option, is your implant and crown. Or implant and bridge. You can do a bridge with implants too. So let's say you are missing, we'll go back to this example. You're missing this guy, right? If you have enough bone, okay, if you're missing the tooth for a long time, the bone goes bye-bye. It dips down and goes bye-bye, right? Smiley face, but not for an implant. It's a frown, okay? You need to have the bone pretty close to the surface, okay? And then what they do is you put this little screw type thing in there, right? And then I build a crown over top. There's usually a part that fixes itself. We screw it in. That's above the gum level. So you have 2 pieces to an implant. You've got the screw that's below the gum tissue, and then there's a part called the abutment. That's the second part, okay, and that's screwed in and torqued in at a certain torque force. Usually it's between 30 and 35 Newton centimeters. And then what we do is we make it look like a tooth and we build a crown on top of that. Okay? Now, let's say we're going back to our bridge concept, right? Let's say you're missing a whole side, okay? You don't want to do a partial. You obviously can't do a bridge because there's no back tooth anymore. You're completely missing a side, right? So here's what your side looks like. It's blank. There's no teeth there. What you can do, and it depends on what the upper is. Let's say you have all of your upper teeth here, okay? So you have 2 premolars, canine, 2 premolars, and 2 molars, right? And let's say you have awesome bone here, okay, in the bottom. What you can do is put 2 implants here, and then put the abutments in and make a bridge. So this would be a 4-unit bridge. You can totally do that. That's great. I do them, not as much as a regular bridge, but I do them. They are very, very good, very strong. As long as these guys have fused to the bone, these are your implants, you're golden. These things are not moving, okay? The glue's not giving themselves up, and you can probably get, as long as your health's okay, and you don't have any bone disease or anything like that, general osteopathic kind of thing, that thing is golden and not moving anywhere. Now, let's say you have an issue, which I do come across once in a while, that you've got a tooth a tooth missing. Here's your regular tooth. You're missing this guy. You're missing this guy, and you've got this guy. Okay? And let's say that maybe these guys aren't very strong. They've had root canals, right? They've got a post in here. Okay? And it's kind of weak. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to hang a 4-crown bridge because this guy's probably going to fail because he's already been hollowed out from the root canal, from the post, and we really do need to leave them alone, right? You cannot hang an implant bridge off of a real tooth, okay? So I couldn't use this back guy and put one implant in the middle and, fill in the space. The reason being is real tooth structure, the teeth are held into the bone in a socket. So there's a little space here, and everybody has it, and it's held by a ligament. Sharpie's fibers, the periodontal ligament, okay? We call it the PDL. This PDL kind of acts as a shock absorber, okay? And everybody's teeth have it, right? Implants do not have it. They're not real teeth. There is no socket. The bone fuses directly around the implant, so there's no movement there. What happens over time, they've found with all the studies that they've done, is it ends up ruining this tooth because it wants to move a little bit, but it can't as much because this one is, dead weight and doesn't move. And what happens is usually that one ends up failing because it can't handle the distribution forces that is being on it. So, if you have that instance where you got a wimpy tooth, you can't do a bridge on it because the space is too much, right? So you're missing 2 teeth here. And this is your wimpy guy because it's had the root canal and the post and all that stuff. What you then have to do is put 2 implants in to fill in the space. I can't just do one and make the crown huge. You never want the implant to have a huge edge on it, right? This is called a cantilever space, and it's just a big fancy word. It just means you're hanging over there. And what's going to happen is it's going to do this. And then what am I going to do? I'm the implant. I'm going to pop out. They've just found that that's what it is. So what you got to do is because you're missing 2 teeth and you have that space there, you got to put 2 implants in. And here's 2 abutments, and you got to do 2 separate crowns. So that instance, you have to stick with the implants. That's really the only time that you cannot, or we advise not to, do a bridge. I've seen a lot of bridges that have failed, not for me, from other people that have done that. Or maybe both of these are wimpy because they've had the root canals. They've got a post in one of the roots and something just breaks right off. Once you do a root canal on a tooth, that means you're taking the nerve out. You're taking all the vital tissue out. So then over time, think of an old branch that's sitting on the ground. What happens is it gets really stiff, brittle, and you can break it. Same with teeth. We're all the same. So you've got biting forces here playing a role, and something's going to end up breaking. And I see it all the time. And then usually what happens is I can't do anything, and we're either in implant crown individual land, we're in implant bridge land, or we're in partial denture land. Okay? So there really is only 3 ways, because no treatment's not a way to fix a missing tooth, but I still give people that option, and I still have a lot of patients that are walking around with missing teeth and looking like hillbillies. I can't help it. I can only do so much, right? They don't value their smile. They don't value the way they're eating. I can only do so much. So if you aren't one of those people and you do want to chew and take care of yourself and live to be 112 and be vital, these are the 2, 3, and 4 are definite ways that you can fix your missing teeth. So missing teeth, you've got no treatment. The second one is a bridge, which is usually 3 to 4 teeth, sometimes 5, if you have strong enough tooth structure on those end teeth to make the bridge. Remember, insurance usually pays for part of that. A partial denture, which is something removable. A bridge is something glued in, right? Just like a crown, okay? But a bunch of crowns. Partial denture is something removable. It's usually made of a plastic rubber substance. And the 4th way is implant crown, and you can do implant bridge also, but you have to have enough bone. On the upper, you really have an issue with sinuses. So, here's our upper. A lot of us, this is your molar space here, right? A lot of us, our sinus dips down right there, okay? And so if you're missing this tooth here, right, a lot of times you do not have enough bone to do an implant there. So then we're into a bridge situation. Okay? Sometimes they can build this up. This is called a sinus lift, where they actually lift the sinus up and they pack some bone in there, so then they can get the implant in. But sometimes you can't even do that. If this is really thin here, there's nothing you can do. So if you are missing teeth, as soon as you take that tooth out, have them pack bone up there. Because once you heal, even if you get an implant 5 years from now, more than likely this bone will still be good. It'll be thick and you could put an implant in. If you take the tooth out on an upper molar and you don't put any bone in there, more than likely you're not going to be able to replace that tooth with an implant. You'll have to go to a bridge or a partial denture. So that's it for me today. I hope you guys learned something about missing teeth and how to fix them. Remember, if you're a podcast person, go to iTunes or Spotify and upload our Lunchtime with the Habit Master episodes. Also, go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. It's called The Habit Master. I just downloaded 2 new videos today. One's about Bob Proctor and some of his teachings. And what was the other one about? Oh, about conscious awakening, which is basically your awareness. So how to be more aware of things around you, of your environment, of your thoughts, of your health, all of it. Once you're aware, which is chapter 2 of my book, and the first part of the habit formula is awareness. Once you're aware of things that aren't serving you, then you can find the things that do. So awareness plays a big role. So go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and watch some of those cool videos that are there. So that's it. I hope everybody has a great Tuesday. And remember, we want to build good habits together. I'll see you guys tomorrow.